Hiro Mashima, the author of Fairy Tail, has just made a new one-shot series called StarBiter Satsuki. Now, if you don't know, Mashima is currently now working on 4 series. Fairy Tail, Fairy Tail Zero, Gray's Ice Trail, a Fairy Tail spin-off, and now StarBiter Satsuki. Now, StarBiter Satsuki really isn't like an official series yet. It's just a one-shot form, and so it's not technically in a weekly release yet. Depending on the popularity of this one-shot, it might get a real release. StarBiter Satsuki doesn't really have any direct link towards Fairy Tail. So, for instance, if you're wondering if StarBiter Satsuki is directly linked to Fairy Tail, then you do not have to worry. It is not linked to the actual series or plotline. It seems to be a completely new series that Hiro Mashima is trying to make. And with this series popping up, and with Hiro Mashima trying to make a new one-shot for a different story, it makes me wonder, is he planning on ending Fairy Tail very soon? Because if you've actually seen the recent events from Fairy Tail, most likely you know that it looks like we're getting closer to the end, the way it looks. But I don't know yet. I'm just throwing up theories in the air for the reason why Hiro Mashima is trying to release a one-shot of all things, especially a new story, because he was willing to make, Fairy Tail Zero and Gray's Ice Trail a spin-off. Now, StarBiter Satsuki has a very interesting concept. It's 31 pages, and I like it so far. I really do. I'd be happy to actually see this become an official series and jump, because the first chapter I enjoyed a lot because of the concept. The concept of it was a really unique concept. It's been done before, if I'm correct, but I haven't seen much of it. So the main concept of the first chapter, or the entire one-shot in its entirety, is that you have our main female character, yes, a main female character, Satsuki, had to hunt down 100 different demonic swords. Now, that is the main goal, in-game goal of the series if it gets released. For instance, you have the master, this master beside Satsuki, that looks like a pink fucking penguin that is trying to get back his swords that he created. Now, you're probably thinking, like, how did this penguin actually make so many different swords? Well, one of the swords he made could actually turn people into, I'm guessing, animals or a bird. And when someone stole his sword, they cut him with it and turned him into a bird, and so now he is technically cursed. Now, the big thing I noticed with this chapter, or this, one-shot, is that Satsuki looks like a mini Erza. She looks so much like Erza, it's not even funny. Her character design, her hair color, everything looks like Satsuki, and she talks like an ancient Japanese woman. That's exactly how Satsuki talks. And then the master reminds me completely of Happy. If anyone knows who Happy is from Fairy Tail, he kind of reminds me of Happy. So, really unique concept how, Hiro Mashima tried to add in those features from Fairy Tail into, this one-shot. And I noticed a direct link to Fairy Tail in this one-shot. When you had the Satsuki talking about the 100 different demonic swords and the different things they can do, she talked about one of these swords being like the Roaring Flame Dragon's Roar or something like that. You know how Natsu's like the Fire Dragon's Roar? Well, pretty much you had it to where she mentioned the sword that was named that. So, that was definitely a complete, I guess, joke towards Fairy Tail. So, the chapter, for the most part, has really good art style. It's pretty much the standard art style you would see in Fairy Tail, and the art looks really good. It looks really good, and it takes place and it looks like an ancient medieval day to where you would see samurais and stuff. So that's pretty much where you can expect this series to take place. Now, the main villains in this one-shot, there's not much I can really say. They're kind of basic and generic. There's nothing that's so interesting about the villains that make me say, oh my god, they're fucking amazing. But, I just like the overall concept of the swords. Just trying to hunt down 100 different demonic swords that have different abilities, like where one sword can expand its height, and then you had another sword that if you sliced it once, it would slice 7 times. There's different swords like that. So, we completely know that each individual sword has its own power and different attack power. And speaking of attack power or ability power, we find out Satsuki is a swordsmith. Now, this right here is a very interesting concept because she can actually use magic. At the end of the one-shot, she reveals she can use magic, and she can actually put this called StarBiter, direct name title drop, in the actual chapter. Pretty much she reveals this magic called StarBiter, and she turns her little sword into this giant long sword that has like 1,500 attack power. And so, it's completely strong, and it actually overpowered one of the demonic swords that the master made in this chapter, and I'm like, holy shit, it looks really cool, and I like the concept of it. So, Personally, I have a lot of hopes for this series. I do, because, I mean, it looks like a really interesting ride if it becomes popular. But, I mean, that all depends about, how many people like it, read it, and, how much it goes in popularity in Japan. But if it does good, definitely expect more reviews on this series, because I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed this first chapter. It's been a long time since I've seen a series about, I'm guessing, swordsmiths. So go give it a watch. I mean, you could look it up. It's called StarBiter Satsuki. Tell me your thoughts about it in the comments below. And do you feel like this series is going to get a weekly release? And do you feel like Hiro Mashima is overworking himself, since technically this is the 4th series he's now currently working on, if it does get an approval thumbs up? So, love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.